There we go. There I am. We're going to be starting a brand new format tonight. Be 30 minutes long. Okay? You'll see down there in the bottom left-hand screen where it says vscministry.com. You go to our website. There's our website. Up at the top says more. Click on more. There'll be a drop-down box that says study materials. Then you can go to fear. Download this material and be able to follow along with us as we do our studies. Okay? We're also on Zoom. You can find us on Zoom. Okay? If you would, please hit one of the buttons. Leave us a comment. Also, be sure to like our Facebook pages, Tackling the Tough Stuff and Victim Survivor Conqueror Ministry. All right, we're going to get into tonight. Tonight's lesson, talking about fear, no longer afraid. Okay? A lot of our studies have backstories, and this one is the story of Gideon. So we're going to be looking at Gideon here tonight. Okay? So let's get into it. Whoop. Let me get over here. There we go. What is wrong? I don't know why this one is not. That's not working. Okay. All right. I'll get it straightened out here in a minute. But anyway, imagine being terrorized. Your life is continually threatened. Your heart is gripped with fear. Imagine every day waking to the thought, this day could be my last. The last for my family. The last for my friends. Imagine living in constant fear of being burglarized, brutalized, vandalized, and victimized, mauled, and murdered. Okay? Well, this is what Gideon was facing. Okay? Now, suddenly, someone appears out of the blue, instructing you to do something that is unthinkable. You're being instructed to take action and to fight those that you fear. Yeah. Okay. Who is instructing Gideon? God. God was instructing Gideon, wasn't he? Yeah, he was. But such an idea is impossible and even preposterous. Sorry, I just messed that all up, didn't I? Especially for Gideon and the Israelites, who, like Job, may be inclined to flee in the face of fear. Okay? Let's look at Job chapter 4, verse 14. Fear and trembling seized me and made all my bones shake. Yeah, if you've ever dealt with fear in your life, then you can definitely relate to this scripture. Okay? So, what is fear? Can you describe fear? Have you dealt with fear in your life? Have you been fearful of something? Fear is a strong emotional reaction to a perceived imminent danger characterized by fight, flight or freeze response. Fear can be real, imagined, rational, irrational. It can be normal or it can be abnormal. Fear acts as a protective reaction, and it is placed in us by our Creator to activate all of our physical defense systems, okay, when we're facing something that we're fearful of. Fear triggers the release of adrenaline in the body that both prepares and propels us to action, and often called the fight or flight response. Okay. Fear is a natural emotion. It is designed by Yahweh, which Yahweh is the Hebrew word for God, designed by God. However, fearfulness is not designed by God, because fearfulness suggests that we are living in a state of fear. Okay? God doesn't want us living in a state of fear. Fear is a translation of the Hebrew word yar, which is Y-A-R-E, which means to be afraid or to stand in awe. The Bible says about Gideon, Gideon took 10 men of his servants and did as the Lord said unto him. Judges chapter 6, verse 27. Now let's back up just a little bit, talk about Gideon. Okay? Gideon is fearful of I think it was the Midianites. And so he's getting ready. He decides he's going to go to war with them. Okay? I'm going to go to war with them. So what does he do? He assembles 4,000 men. Okay? And he starts preparing these 4,000 men for war. Well, what does God do? God tells Gideon, no, that's too many. You need to cut your numbers. Okay? And I'm paraphrasing here. Well, so Gideon cuts it down to, I think it was either 2,000 or 1,500 men that he's going to take with him into war against the Midianites. Okay, so he's thinking, okay, I've got 1,500 men. God says, nope. Still too many. So he cuts them down. God says, nope, still too many. Well, he cut them down finally got down to 100 men that he decided that he was going to take with him into war. God looked at him and he said, nope, still too many. I want you to take 10 men. And Gideon's like, well, how do I decide which 10 men to take? So God told him to take the men and go to this pool of water. And the men that bent down and drank the water with their hands, out of that 100 was 10. The other 90 reached down, grabbed the water, got some water in her hand, raised her hand up, was drinking and looking around. And God said, don't take them. Take the men that didn't look around. So that's what Gideon did. And guess what? God handed over their enemies to their hand. And Gideon and the Israelites defeated the army. Okay? So, when we go and we start, when we're facing something, whether it's fear, whether it's a confrontation, and we start gathering help, or we start telling people all about what's going on, and we're trying to get people on our side, maybe God is telling us, no, wait a minute. You're doing this wrong. You're assembling too much help. I want you to trust me. And that's what God is telling us. He wants us to trust Him with the things in our life. And that includes the fears of our life. Okay? All right, let's move on. Throughout the Bible, we're told not to fear people or circumstances or the unknown, but we're told to fear God, to have the fear of the Lord. How can I love and trust a God that I am told that I'm supposed to fear? Huh? The essence of the biblical phrase, the fear of the Lord, dictates a reverential awe for God, a deep-seated respect for God, based on the acknowledgement of His sovereignty and His majesty. We must always be mindful that He oversees all creation, everything, and nothing or no one can thwart what He proposes. Okay? And what we know about God should directly affect how we feel about God. It should stir the emotions toward expressions of wonder, admiration, and worship. Again, a reverential awe for God. That should be our spiritual mindset that encompasses both our minds and our hearts. Therefore, since we are receiving a kingdom that cannot be shaken, let us be thankful and so worship God acceptantly with reverence and awe. For our God is a consuming fire. Hebrews chapter 12, verses 28 and 29. Okay? Next, we're going to start looking at anxiety. What is anxiety? Okay, so what is anxiety? Anxiety is, in the psychological and psychiatric world, is an umbrella word covering a varying degrees of worry and fear. Okay? and it ranges from mild to extreme. Anxiety is an uneasiness or distress over a threat or something unknown, and it is characterized by extreme worry or brooding fear. Anxiety stems from uncertainty. We hope something will happen, but we have no guarantee that it will happen. Or we fear something will happen, but having no control over whether it will or not. So, anxiety can become a disorder when it becomes so intense that it dominates a person's thoughts, feelings, and actions, preventing the person from living a normal life. Anxiety can lead to a catastrophic thinking, overestimating the likelihood of danger or a negative outcome. After all, the heavenly messenger delivers his initial instructions. Gideon, again, talking about Mr. Old Gideon, Gideon quickly questions, if the Lord is really with us, why has all this evil happened? Have you ever asked that question? Do you know anybody that's ever asked that question? Yep. There's a lot of us. There's a lot of people have, hadn't it? And then Gideon makes it most clear. If God wants a deliverer, I am the man for the job. He steps up to the plate. God, send me. I'll go. After all, he is the least in the family, belonging to the weakest clan in the small tribe of Manasseh. Who's that sound like? Kind of sounds like King David, don't it? When Saul went to anoint the next king, and he went to Jesse's house, and he went through every son till he got to the runt of the family. Seems like that's who God uses a lot, isn't it? Okay. Gideon attempting to rationalize his anxiety, he exclaims, and he said unto him, O my Lord, wherewith shall I save Israel? Behold, my family is poor in Manasseh, and I am the least of my father's house. Judges chapter 6, verse 15. So there's Gideon. God's calling on him. Hey, Gideon, I got a job for you. I want you to do something for me. Why, I'm nobody. My family's poor. I come from a poor family. I'm the least. I'm the runt of the family. I don't have anything to offer. And yes, that is exactly who God uses a lot of times. All right. Can you name some anxiety disorders? Right? And if you'd like to comment, I will be able to see your comments. And it's one of the reasons why, if you don't have the material, is go to vscministry.com after we get through here, download this material, and you can follow along. Okay? And I recommend that you try to read ahead before you join us in for next week's lesson. So, what are some disorders? First one is phobias. Phobias. Have you got a phobia? Do you have a phobia? And we're going to look at it a little bit more detail. Post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. That is huge right now. That's one of the new, not really new, but it's been around for quite a while, but it has gotten a lot of attention over the last few years. Next is panic disorders. Panic disorders. Next one is acute stress disorder. And then the next one is obsessive compulsive disorders. Hey, have you heard of that one? Yeah, a lot of people have. A lot of people have this issue. Okay. Then there's generalized anxiety disorder. Then disorders from a medical condition. And substance-induced anxiety disorders. Okay, so these are some of the disorders, anxiety disorders, that you can have. Okay. All right, back to Gideon. When they found themselves in captivity, the Israelites had an anxious mind, eyes weary with longing, and a despairing heart. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 65. Okay? So, out of these disorders, which one have you dealt with in the past? Okay? All right, moving on. What is the difference between fear and worry? Worry is mentally dwelling on a possible undesired happening in the future. Fear, on the other hand, is a strong emotional reaction to a perceived or imminent danger. Well, go back. There we go. Sorry. Call on me in the day of trouble, and I will deliver you, and you will honor me. Psalms chapter 50, verse 15. Okay? What do we need to do? Call on him. Call on our Father. Call out to the Father when you're in trouble. Because when we do call out, what's going to happen? He will deliver us. Okay? Now, there's times when we feel like that he is way late, or we wonder, where are you? But he's always there. He's never late. in his time. Excuse me. So what is a panic attack? Panic attacks are sudden, brief episodes of intense fear with multiple physical symptoms, such as heart palpitations and dizziness, but without any external threat. Panic attacks are typically unexpected, out of the blue experiences. They just start. The first time they occur, people are usually involved in some type of normal activity, like walking outside. Suddenly, a barrage of frightening sensation strikes them, lasting a few seconds to a few minutes. Panic attacks can occur at any time, and sufferers know just the fear of having another attack can trigger one. Okay? And so these episodes can take on a life of their own. Panic attacks can be considered fear out of control. Terror startled him on every side and dogged his every step. Job chapter 18, verse 11. Have you ever had a panic attack before? If you have, do you still suffer from them? Okay, can we do anything to stop a panic attack? Yes, we can. When you first begin to experience shallow, rapid breathing, recognize that these symptoms may be the initiation of hyperventilation, which reduces carbon dioxide in the blood. Such a condition is often occupied by classic symptoms of a panic attack: light-headedness, dizziness, tingling of the extremities, palpitations of the heart, and feeling of faintness and respiratory distress. You feel like you can't catch your breath. However, let the onset of rapid breathing serve as a warning signal. Although hyperventilation can resemble those symptoms caused by a serious medical problem or condition, most isolated incidences occur in nervous or tense people or those who breathe shallowly. Okay? So, how can I stop these symptoms? Oh, all right. We're going to stop right here. We're going to pick up next Thursday night. Okay? Because we've gone to 30-minute sessions. Okay? And before we get off of here, it's not going to always be right at 30 minutes. We may stop a minute or two early, go over a minute or two, but it's going to be roughly 30 minutes. Okay? But be sure, go to vscministry.com to our website. Click up at the top where it says more on the drop-down box. Hit study materials. Go to fear. Download it. Print it. That way you can read ahead, okay, and be prepared for next week, okay? Also, I will not be covering everything in the material, okay? So there's a lot of other good material there that would be good for you to read, okay? Also, please, if you're on Facebook, please hit one of the buttons. Leave us a comment. Okay. Also remember, we're on Zoom. If you'd like to get on Zoom, you can get on Zoom. That way we can communicate together. Okay. All right. One other thing. Two things, or I'm going to ask three things of you. Three things. Will you either tell someone or share this? Two, will you pray for this ministry and pray for me? Okay. The third thing is when you go to vscministry.com, there is a place there. I have a secure PayPal button. Would you pray and ask God if you should be involved in supporting this ministry financially? It does not look like I'm going to be receiving any a grant this year from my donor that I've had the last few years. Maybe because of COVID, loss of business. I'm not sure. It does take some funds to maintain this ministry, insurance, computer programs, updating computers from time to time, and things like that. Hey, so I would appreciate it very much if you would consider it. And if you can, God bless. If you can't, God bless. Because I know that funds are tight right now for a lot of people. Okay? But any amount, if you could give any amount, it would be appreciated. Okay? All right. Just two other quick announcements, and I'll be getting off of here. One is, remember, tune in next Thursday night at 7 o'clock for the second week of Fear. Okay? And we'll be back talking about these panic attacks. Okay? The last announcement is this. Remember, Tuesday nights is Victim Survivor Conqueror Ministry. You can find it on Victim Survivor Conqueror Ministry Facebook page or Tackling the Tough Stuff Facebook page or even a Matt Hatara Odessa Facebook page. We are on looking at childhood sexual abuse, how it has affected our life. Okay? And that is 7 o'clock Tuesdays, 30-minute session. Okay? All right. We will see you. Oh, looky there. Hey, Laurie, glad to see you joining us tonight. Okay? If you've got a question, you got a comment, you got a message, be sure and shoot us a message, and we will be sure and return your message and contact you. Okay. All right. God bless, and we will see you Tuesday night at Victim Survivor Conqueror Ministry.